So I was having a conversation with one of my guys, right? And we were speaking about growth. And specifically, why would you come here, bro? Like, you can see I'm coming out, bro. Where do you think you're going? Some people don't know how to drive for us. Anyways, yeah, look. We were speaking about growth. In the context that I was speaking about how I've really been growing at an exponential rate recently, and I've really been happy about that. There's been a lot of intentionality that I've been putting in to my growth, and it's been a massive blessing. And he was essentially saying that he feels like he hasn't grown in the past few years at all. He's been the same exact person. He hasn't grown. And to that I said, look, it's important that we're always continuously growing. The way that I see it, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? If you're not on an upwards trajectory, what does that mean? It means more than likely you're going down, right? And it's important that we're continuously evolving as people, regardless of whether we're 25, regardless of whether we're 40, 60, 80. I think that there's always some way that we can be growing. It doesn't necessarily only have to be in one specific realm of life. It doesn't, for example, just have to be about finances. It doesn't just have to be about fitness. But there's so many different areas. This is why on this channel we speak about the different areas of life. We speak about the 6 F's. We speak about the finances. We speak about the faith. We speak about the mental fortitude, right? Learning, personal development, etc. We speak about fulfillment. What are you doing to actually be fulfilled? What kind of value are you adding to the world? We speak about the family. How are you showing up for the people that matter? We speak about the fitness, and we speak about the faith. I think I might have repeated one. But it's because these are all different areas in which we can actually grow, right? So anyways, he then asked me, what constitutes growth, right? What do I consider to be growth? And also the other question he asked me is, at what point does one consider themselves to be grown? So I'm going to be answering those 2 questions right now on this drive. The first question, right? What can we do to actually grow? I believe, what constitutes growth? Like, what can we actually be doing? Again, it comes down to those 6 F's. That's why those 6 F's, you really need to understand them and internalize them. I highly recommend, because I'm telling you one thing, when you break down your life in these categories, whoops, my phone just dropped. Okay, look, we still gonna continue. Don't worry, I'm gonna pick up the phone when it's safe to do so. But when we think about life in these categories, right, what happens is we're able to thrive in different areas, and we're able to make sure that we're not actually slowing down, right? We're able to make sure that there's continuously some kind of evolution. And also, it gives a specific focus for us. We're able to understand, okay, maybe my finances are doing great, but let me not let all other aspects of my life go to shit, right? Because finances aren't the only thing that's important. Oh, whoops, I'm holding it upside down. My apologies, people. Finances aren't the only thing that are important in life, right? Why is bro tooting? What does he think? Can't be tooting me. There's literally a whole truck in front of me, bro. Anyways, finances aren't the only thing that's important in life, right? So when we consider that, and we now think, okay, my finances, how are they growing? Okay, my finances are growing, perfect. Next thing, how's my fitness doing? Is my fitness evolving? If my fitness isn't evolving, then what can I be doing? Are my weights going up at the gym, or are they staying stagnant? If I'm not going to the gym, I need to get my ass to the gym. Or it doesn't necessarily have to be gym. Maybe your priorities are different, and maybe you're focused on a different vehicle of fitness. That's cool as well, right? But again, from a diet perspective, what is it that you're doing for your diet? How are you taking care of the temple that is your body, right? Next thing, again, mental fortitude. How are you on a daily, weekly basis working on enhancing your mind, enhancing the capabilities of your brain? Because understand that on a daily basis, right? On a daily basis, everything that we do is controlled by our brain. So imagine everything we do is controlled by our brain. Imagine a lot of people aren't even working on trying to understand their brain better. Insane. Mental fortitude is so important, and that's obviously a key focus of this channel. A lot of the things that we're speaking about, it's about thinking differently. It's about strengthening your mind, right? Now, strengthening your mind isn't just, oh, be disciplined, oh, hustle, or blah, 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 blah. It's about understanding the way that your brain thinks. If you can, for example, understand the different cognitive biases, you can understand why your brain might be thinking in a flawed manner. And when you understand these things, you're now able to think much more clearly.
Speed bumps ahead.
Shouts to the speed bumps. Yeah. Ideally, my phone isn't going to drop again from that. But let me know what you guys are thinking of this format, by the way. I don't know if the audio's too crazy. I don't know. You guys let me know, right? Trying different things. Also, to be honest, it's just very efficient. I've got quite a busy day ahead of me today, as I do in general, but as in like, it just made more sense to get this video done whilst on the go, right? But anyways, with that being said, back to the topic. So the next thing, how can we focus on optimizing our faith, right? Faith doesn't necessarily have to mean, I was going over a house, I was just making sure I didn't drop. Ooh. Faith doesn't necessarily have to mean going to church, going to the mosque, going to the synagogue, whatever it is, right? These could be aspects of your faith. Well, whether you're religious or you're not, me personally, I don't consider myself to be religious, right? But when I say faith, I'm speaking about believing in something that's bigger than yourself. I believe that that's very important. So for example, do you believe in some kind of higher power? How are you working on your relationship with that higher power? Or how are you just, I guess, in tune with your spirituality as a whole? I think this is an important aspect of life, in my personal opinion. So again, thinking about what can we do to grow in these areas. Now, of course, if you're subscribed to my channel, Shay Lamar, yeah, if you're subscribed, then you already know these are going to be different types of topics that we could cover. These different 6 F's are what this whole channel is about. So if you haven't subscribed, then what are you doing? Yeah, go and subscribe. Ooh, go and subscribe. Yeah. If you don't subscribe, you're numpty, mate. Yeah. Look at the lengths that we're going to record this video. Don't worry, by the way. I know it seems like I'm not driving safe, but bear in mind, yeah, it's like a very quiet road. There's no cars like right behind me or anything, so I'm actually chilling. Yeah. Anyways, look. Next thing, what haven't we spoken about? So we spoke about finances. We spoke about fitness. This video is chaotic. I mean, this video is chaotic, bro. Okay. This video is chaotic. But again, let me know what you guys think. Maybe you guys are finding this entertaining. But you know what? I've actually got a thing that can connect to like the window and stuff. So next time, if you guys do like this format, I can just use that, and then the phone doesn't necessarily have to be dropping. This was just a last minute plan. But anyways, sometimes you take imperfect action. That's another way that you can learn. That's another way that you can grow. Because a lot of the times, yeah, what people would do is they won't take an action until it's perfect. So in this situation, many people wouldn't have even recorded this video because it's not the perfect situation. It's not the perfect conditions. I don't have the perfect setup and this and that, etc. Many people probably wouldn't even upload this video, but I'm gonna upload it. Why? Because I know that there's value in it regardless. Yeah. Anyways, well, you guys let me know though. You guys be the judge of that. Maybe I shouldn't have uploaded it, and you guys can tell me as well. Then we get feedback, and then we work on being better. Boom, simple, right? That's another way that we grow. We grow by learning from mistakes. We grow by learning from failures, right? I'm just gonna hold this for now because I've actually got a car behind me, so it's not really suitable to just be going super slow. But I also don't need to use my left hand right now because it's a straight road, so I don't need to indicate anywhere. So we're all good. Don't worry, I'm reassuring you that everything is all good, everything is safe. Yeah. Especially if you saw the other video. Wait, I'm just anyways. Let's leave it talk. But look, next aspect. So we spoke about faith, family, right? How are you showing up for your family? How are you showing up for the people who matter? So for example, is it a thing where you haven't gone and checked in on people that you love, people that you care about for ages, right? For months, right? Maybe you haven't even checked in on your cousins or whatever it is. And it's like, even as I'm saying this now, I'm thinking, you know what, there's actually some, like, well, I mean, I don't check in on all of my cousins, honestly speaking. But as in cousins that I'm like close to, there's some that haven't like gone and called for a good while. So even now, it's like I'm reflecting, I'm thinking that's an aspect in which I can improve, right? So again, it's just checking in, right? Checking in on your close people, your friends, your family, etc. Let's say you're in a relationship now. How can you work on optimizing that relationship? How can you work on optimizing the way that you're actually showing up in that relationship, right? Let's see. Let me just give this guy a little bit more space. Yeah, how can you work on making sure that you're showing up effectively in that relationship, right? Is it that you haven't been given enough time to your lady, to your man, right? Have you been being too emotional, right? To your woman, to your man? Like, for example, are you just causing fights and you start arguments, etc.? Is this something that you can improve on? Thank you, kind lady. Is this something that you can improve on? Because if you're showing up to your relationships and you're just always on a hype and you're just always causing problems and all that kind of stuff, then it's not the best. Maybe your significant other is causing problems, but maybe you know that you could actually be dealing with it better. Maybe you know that something that you could work on, which is linked to your mental fortitude, is your emotional intelligence. And that's where you watch videos by Sheila Mar on emotional intelligence. But outside of my videos, you can also go and study the topic. One source that I've learned from is a book called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. I don't remember the name of the author. You are taking up a lot of space, my friend. I don't remember the name of the author, but Emotional Intelligence 2.0 is a brilliant book. But again, the topic of emotional intelligence, maybe, for example, you're going to study conflict resolution. Maybe you understand that you can resolve conflict in your relationship better. Maybe not just even your love relationship, your romantic relationship, but maybe even just your friendships. Maybe even just in general. You're, again, identifying, this is what I'm speaking about when I'm speaking about growth. Identifying areas of your life that can be improved, right? Identifying areas of your life that can be improved and improving them. Seeking answers. You're welcome. Seeking answers. Right? So I encourage you to ask yourself, what areas of my life, think of these 6 F's that we've discussed. I think I addressed all 6. Think of these 6 F's that we've discussed, yeah? And ask yourself, out of these 6 F's, what is one of them? Don't even try to focus on fixing everything in your whole life immediately, because this is another problem. People, which is maybe I'll talk about after, people will focus so heavily on thinking that everything needs to be perfect. So they try to change everything at once. And what a lot of the times that leads to is you not changing anything because it's too overwhelming, right? Because you think that in order to grow, it needs to be perfect. In fact, a guy who I was just telling you guys about from this conversation, when I was saying this to him, he actually ended up saying, oh, well, I don't actually see improving. Like, if you're making improvements in your life, I don't see that as growing. I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, that didn't even make any type of sense. Yeah, bro's just trying to, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, look, that don't even make any type of sense. Because if you're improving, his argument was, if you're improving something in your life, but you don't maintain that improvement, then you haven't grown. So his example was, if, let's say, for example, you quit smoking and then you start smoking again, then that means that you haven't grown. That's false. That's not true. And that level of thinking is the level of thinking that people have who stay stuck and who want to stay stuck. And the reason they stay stuck, a massive reason they stay stagnant, is because in their head, they're only going to be growing if they do everything perfectly. So there's no point in trying. There's no point in changing. They may as well just stay where they are. So avoid this trap. Avoid this thought trap. It will mess you up if you don't deal with it correctly. Yeah, it will mess you up. So be careful with that. Understand that you can grow, and growth doesn't have to be a perfection, right? Growth is about progression. It's not about perfection. Yeah. With that being said, people, you guys have an amazing day. I'm gonna wrap this one up right here. Again, let me know what you guys think of the format. I know it was a bit chaotic, but ideally everything made sense to you guys. You guys got the value, and you guys are ready to, you know what I'm saying, elevate in your life. With that being said, again, I have to love you guys and leave you guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's another topic, by the way. I was listening to a podcast, right? Speaking about just telling people that you love them, essentially. And speaking about how a lot of the times in our society we actually avoid telling people that we love them, whether it's our guys, like friends, whether it's family, like whatever it is, it's like there's a negative connotation around it somehow. It's like, oh no, that's weird. I don't tell a guy you love him or whatever it is. And it's like, it was very fascinating actually. It was quite a grown conversation that this gentleman was presenting. I was like, you know what, that's actually a good point. Like we should really be expressing. He was like, look, let's say for example, something happened and or let's say they died or I died or whatever it is. I want them to know that like, I love them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's bro, or that's my peoples, etc. And I feel like even in general in the world, we could be spreading much more love and just letting each other know the love that we have for each other as people, as humanity, right? So again, I love you guys, and yeah, man, you guys have an amazing day for real. Make sure. If not, I'm gonna be frustrated. Yeah? Make sure you have a good day. And I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Peace out.